Today's video is going to be on the past subjunctive. Yay! I'm super excited. We're going back to the subjunctive. You guys totally thought we were done, but we're not. So we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a reminder of when to use the subjunctive and then when to use it in the past. So hopefully you remember all of your wedding things. So the W being for will, exerting your will or influence over another person. So some of these verbs might be like querer, recomendar, desear, permitir. Anytime where you're exerting your will or influence over another person. And then we have the E for emotions. So estar triste de que, estar feliz de que, tener miedo de que, anything that shows an emotional reaction to something. The de is going to be for doubt. So dudar que or no es cierto que, no es verdad que, anything that tells you that you're doubting what is true. The other de is don't be fooled. So remember, this is actually not subjunctive. It's the false subjunctive, so it looks like it should be, but it's not. Such as es cierto que, es verdad que, es seguro que. If something is certain, then it's not subjunctive. The I is for indefinite. So remember, if you're not sure if something exists or not, so if you say like, hay una persona que, like, is there someone who, I don't know if that person exists or not, therefore I have to use a subjunctive. And then the N for negative phrases. So if something for sure doesn't exist. So no hay nadie que would be there is no one who or there is no one that. If I know for certain that it doesn't exist, then I have to use a subjunctive. And then of course the last one, G for general statements. Es bueno que, es malo que, es importante que, es adjective que. So all of these are going to trigger the subjunctive, and then we also have the two conjunctions at the end. So remember, these are at the bottom of your pink form. So we have conjunctions of time, and those are going to be like tan pronto como, cuando, después de que, and you use these when you have something that hasn't happened yet. So only when you have a conjunction of time and something that hasn't happened yet. And then we have conjunctions of uncertainty. And then if you remember, this is the escapa. So if you don't remember these, you'll want to go back and look at them. So en caso de que, sin que, con tal de que, antes de que, para que, a menos que, a fin de que. So you want to memorize those. These are always going to be subjunctive no matter what. And these are only going to be subjunctive basically when you have future or something that hasn't happened yet. So these are going to be all of the triggers for the subjunctive. You want to make sure that you really, really have a good idea of what the triggers are. Because in order to use the past subjunctive, you have to have a trigger. But the trigger is obviously going to be in the past tense. So if you have a subjunctive trigger in the present tense, you're going to use the present subjunctive. If you have a subjunctive trigger in the past tense, you're going to use the past subjunctive. And how do you form the past subjunctive? So in order to form the past subjunctive, you have to remember the preterite, everybody's favorite. So just for an example, we're going to do bailar. So in the preterite, yo bailé, tú bailaste, él, ella, usted bailó, nosotros bailamos, ellas, or ellos, ellas, ustedes bailaron. Okay, so what you have to do in order to form the past subjunctive is you're going to take the ellos, ellas, ustedes form of the verb in the preterite, take off the ron, and add a special set of endings. The endings are going to be ra, ras, ra, ramos, and ron. The ramos is always going to have an accent on whatever letter is right before the ramos. Okay, the nosotros is going to have an accent always right before the ramos. So for bailar, if you were going to do it in the past subjunctive, it would be yo bailara, tú bailaras, él, ella, usted bailara, nosotros bailáramos con acento, y ellos, ellas, ustedes bailaran. So hopefully now you can see why I am always such a stickler about accents and about pronouncing accents and writing accents. Because bailará, if this had an accent, would be the future tense of he or she will dance. Without the accent, bailara, that's the past subjunctive. So that's why it's super, super important that you pronounce the accent on the future tense and that you write the accent so that you can differentiate between what you're saying here. Okay, so going to the preterite, you want to make sure that you remember all of your irregular preterite verbs because you have to go to the ellos, ellas, ustedes, and the preterite before you can form the past subjunctive. So hopefully you remember the song that we did. That was La Cucaracha. So tener estuve, estar estuve, ir es fui, también ser, poner es puse, poder es pude, traje es para traer, hacer hice, haber hube, querer quise, saber supe. Desert dije, venir vine, ver vidar no acentos. So hopefully you remember that song. If not, you might want to go back and memorize it again because you are going to need to know the preterite in order to form the past subjunctive. Okay. So again, take off the ron and add ra, ras, ra, ramos, ron. Now for a little bit of practice, I wanted you all to study. So do we have a subjunctive trigger? Yes. We have want you to do something. That's going to be the W or will, exerting your will or influence over another person. And it's in the past tense, so we need the past subjunctive. So yo, and in the past for querer, remember you don't use it in the preterite, so it has to be the imperfect. Quería que. I wanted you all to study. So yo quería que ustedes, and then I need the past subjunctive for estudiar. So in the preterite, it would be estudiaron. I'm going to take off the ron and add ra, ras, ra, ramos, ron. And since it's ustedes, it's going to be ron. Yo quería que ustedes estudiaran. He doubted that we won the game. Do I have a subjunctive trigger? Yes, I have doubt, which is the D in wedding, and then it's in the past tense, doubted, so I have to use the past subjunctive. So él, and then he doubted is going to be the imperfect. So the imperfect of dudar is dudaba que, that we won the game. Que nosotros, and then we need the past subjunctive of ganar. So the ellos, ellas, ustedes in the preterite is going to be ganaron. Take off the ron and add ra, ras, ra, ramos, ron. So it's going to be ramos, ganaramos. And they have to have an accent right before the ramos, okay? And whatever letters before the ramos. So ganáramos el partido. Él dudaba que nosotros ganáramos el partido. He doubted that we won the game. Spoiler alert if you haven't read Harry Potter, sorry. It was sad that Hedwig died. It was really sad. I pretty much cried. So it was sad is going to be a general statement. So I do have to use subjunctive because it's a general statement, and it was is the past tense. So I need to the past tense of it was sad. So era triste que Hedwig. So morir is to die. In the ellos, ellas, ustedes of the preterite, it is a stem change. Remember that the IR verbs do stem change in the slipper in the preterite. So IR verbs stem change either to I or to you. So morir is going to stem change to you. And then the ellos, ellas, ustedes is morieron. Take off the ron and add ra, ras, ra, ramos, ron. So it's going to be muriera. Era triste que Hedwig muriera. If you have any questions, let me know. Gracias.